I'm giving him the clap this time.
I like it. There we go.
Episode 16, take 1.
Excellent. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to No Edits, No Filter. What's
Welcome
up, boys?
back.
How's everybody?
Good.
Cool.
Happy Friday.
I just was thinking we need a sponsor for this show.
We do need a sponsor, Matt. Get out and sell a sponsor for us. Go do
Our
that.
sponsor should be Westwood.
Westwood. What?
No, I was thinking more of like a food sponsor, like sponsored by beer or
Where you
something.
going?
Maybe even
Yeah,
Lipscomb.
just set that down. Good.
I was thinking we could be sponsored by a beer company or
A
something.
beer company.
I mean,
That'd be a first.
Ideal.
Ideal. Well, we currently are
university.
sponsored by Westwood and Woodard Brothers and In-House Creative. Thank goodness for all of that. That's who we're sponsored by right now, guys. Hey, so we come together every Friday, right?
Yeah.
No edits, no filter. We've got been a guest before, but not a guest. He's
First guest we've ever had. Second time.
second
Yeah.
time. That's right. You're becoming.
So I guess I'm a record holder.
You're all right. There's Steve Martin on
Yeah.
Saturday Night Live. What kind of?
Yeah,
Riley
buddy.
Delaney's joined us. Yeah, glad you're here, man. Glad you're here.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's this about Saturday Night Live?
It's Saturday Night
I was making fun of Saturday
Live.
Night Live because
Woodard Night Live.
Steve Martin's been on it so many times, and Alec Baldwin and all those guys. Riley's kind of the Alec Baldwin of No Edits, No Filter.
Has he ever impersonated our so-called president? I don't think so.
Can you do
Yeah,
Can you do any
I
impersonations?
cannot do any impressions to save my life.
No impressions. Okay.
I don't.
Cool.
So I don't really.
You don't do any either, do you?
Yes, I do.
You do. Give us your best impression.
Maybe a few.
Okay, give us a couple.
I gotta have more cowbell.
That's good. Saturday Night Live. Very nice. And who was the actor in that?
Christopher Walken.
Christopher Walken. Very good. Yeah. Any more?
Classic sketch, by the way. Yeah.
Or do you just want to just kind of surprise us during the broadcast?
What's another good one I can do?
You probably do a Dangerfield. You got to do a Dangerfield.
Okay. Hey, my biggest hit was Caddyshack, and I think it was overshadowed by a gopher
I love that.
and a Ghostbuster too.
Ghostbuster and a gopher overshadowed you in Caddyshack. Yeah, they did actually. They did overshadow. All right, guys, what do we do here? Tell us what we do. Carson, tell us what we do on Fridays. We do right
I
here.
can do Nicolas Cage.
One more, and then we're going to jump in, and then you can just kind of give us one every now and then. I'll turn to you and go give us one. Give us Nicolas Cage.
With the career choices I make today, would you believe that I won an Oscar?
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good, Nicolas Cage. That's
Impressive.
And I don't think too many people do Nicolas Cage, do they? Or is that sounds pretty good, man.
Andy Samberg did.
Andy Samberg did Nicolas Cage. You're exactly right. That was kind of Andy Samberg doing Nicolas Cage too, by the way. All right, Carson, what do we do here every week? We throw out what?
Yes.
We
It kind of
We
sounds.
throw out a topic and whatever
You have a fly.
our mind is set on.
And whatever happens is what happens. Look, there comes Will. Join us, Will.
Hey!
Hi, Will.
Hey,
Will's in the
what's up,
house.
Brad? Come join us. Sit next to Cody.
Yeah, I swear.
You're in. How you doing, dude?
Good.
Glad you're here.
Trying to be very built for event.
Yeah, maybe.
You've been in an
Maybe Andy
event.
Samberg.
And you have a new
or
hat.
it's Nick Cage. Sounds more like Spicoli.
My advisor, Lizzie Brett, just having a baby, so the staff wanted an event for her, and it also marks the 10-year anniversary
Yeah.
for Next Step. So
That's cool.
it was a huge thing.
So you've been partying, is what you're saying?
Oh,
Man, it's Friday. It's just a Friday party. Well, we're glad you're here. Way to come in the middle. We're going good. We hadn't even said the topic yet.
All right.
We're listening to impressions. Do you do any impressions?
I don't know if I can.
All right, we're just thinking of that. So, guys,
I know some impressions I can do, but I can't. You know, the weird thing about it is you have to catch me on one of my off hours. To
I
get
don't know
me-
if I'm
Yeah,
because you're on. We'll do
yeah,
that.
like I'm in work mode right now, and
There
you
you go.
can't like force it out
Think
of
about
me.
it. Hold your impressions, but I want to get to the topic. I want to throw it out there, and it's kind of a very oxymoronic to it, and it's a little deep topic because somebody I think
I called it out right
somebody's
before
really-
filming.
Somebody's following me around and in my head, I think. And Riley walks in my office and goes, I can tell you what this topic's going to be. I've been watching all the shows and I know how you're doing this. And he said, you know, started in January. Did what? Super Bowl.
Super Bowl.
You took a trip to Europe and traveled and went and saw the world. We came back and we talked about travel. We did this and that and we talked about that. He said, so you just left 2 weeks and my dad passed away. And he said, so we're going to talk about life and death. And I was like, basically it wasn't
He
life
was
and death.
telling me that for like 2 or 3 weeks.
But I think
ago.
we should talk about loss. That was what it was going to be about. But I kind of like life and death, so I want to put it in that subcontext.
I think I prefer loss. It's less existential.
Okay, cool. Well, let's talk about that. Then loss, and it can be an individual that's close to us. It can be a dog. It could be a job. It could be an experience we were having. But loss, I want to talk about that because I did. I'm going to share with you real quick. I did just lose my father. He passed away a couple of Wednesdays ago. He was one of my best friends. I love him today. I loved him so much. He took me to see concerts when I was a little kid. He got me into music. He was my go-to guy. You know, he was my go-to guy when you got a question, you got somebody you can go to. He was it. And now I'm the old dude in the family. Kind of the torch is being passed. And so when I woke up the other night, I thought, man, I really need to, and I can't go to him and ask him that. And so it's a big loss in my life, and I'm dealing with it and learning to deal with it. And the best way that I've learned to deal with it is to talk about it and to get it out in public among men and friends and other people that can help me get through that, and that I can help get through things. And so community is a huge thing to help me deal with loss. A lot of friends came to see me at visitations and came by the house and wrote notes and sent nice texts, and I think that my loss has been tempered with all the love that's been shown to me about my father and about things that he did for people and stuff like that. So I do want to talk about loss, I guess, as it appears to life and death, and why is that different than life and death? You know, somebody take it and run with a little bit of loss. Any thoughts on that?
I'm willing to break the ice.
Break it, dude. Jump in.
I'm willing.
You're good at it.
You know, Tom, loss, I think it's a part of, like, a couple of years ago, I lost one of my cousins, my mother's side. Her name was Kim Holbrook. She died of, I want to say it was breast cancer.
Okay.
But she gave haircuts, and, you know, I remember her being a very nice, I called her Aunt Kim because she was my aunt.
Cool.
And I remember a lot. I just remember that I loved her, and she'll be always missed with me.
Yeah.
You know, she gave me my first haircut. You know,
Cool.
and so you know, I mean, I haven't. Another thing that I kind of want to delve into, since we're talking about this subject, I'm very terrified about what the hell am I going to do when my parents just drop dead.
Okay.
Like, I know that's a long way away from now, but I'm very terrified.
What are you most afraid of, Matt? When you say terrified, is it the unknown or is it
The unknown really terrifies me, but knowing that they'll be in heaven,
some
you know,
assurance
you
of
just
that?
gotta move on. You can't.
So talk about moving on. How do you move on from a loss? Because your parents provide a lot of things for you. You guys have been.
I mean, this is in the future, hypothetical.
I know, but you independently kind of lost moving from home this year, right? You guys moved out into a place.
Hopefully, we move into another place.
Right, and so you lost that sort of security there before you even lost your parents.
Yeah,
It
and
didn't have to be a loss. I want to keep exploring that though. That's
Hey,
a big
Matt.
fear. Talk to him, Riley.
Matt, it's an innate sense in all humans to have what we now call FOMO, fear of missing out,
No, it's not.
Well,
it's not that. It's
or just being dropped into the
it's
unknown.
yeah. I get what
basically.
you're saying. It's more of like, what am I supposed to do if I have no one else to go to?
Yeah.
I mean, I you know, I'm starting to make my own decisions, but like, is it the right decision? Like, that's the $1 million question. I don't know what I'm gonna do because, and you know, it's just that one thing that keeps me going, and this is why I try my best to pick up anything new skill wise, if that's, you know, doing this way. And I feel like, you know, I just am just kind of at a crossroads, hypothetically, that it's not going to happen anytime soon, but I know it's going to happen. Everyone is going to drop dead at some point.
Yeah, exactly. So this is really going to sound really kind of strange, but I have thought about, with my father's passing, projecting myself into that and now working my way back so that every day I spend, I'm spending living. Because I know that one day I won't be here. I'll watch my father pass. The other thing that I think is really comforting, and I'll share with you that's going on with me right now, is the way he paved a road for me. I know a lot of your families. In fact, I know all of your families. And I know that they have all busted their butts to pave a road for you. Your mom or your dad has done a great job of paving a road for you. Do you agree with that, or don't get your phone? Don't get your phone.
I was seeing what time it was.
Okay, cool. Because I want you to listen to this. And each of your parents have paved the way for you. And so one of the things I've realized in the last couple of weeks is that big path that my dad paved the way for me for. You know, it was amazing. You're kind of walking along it with him. You and your dad are tight, walking along it with him, and then all of a sudden he's not there with you, and it's like, wait a minute. But the path is still there. I know more than I thought I knew. He taught me more than I learned more from him than I thought I had learned. And it's kind of like when you're all of a sudden he wasn't there, and it's like, and he still feels like he's there, and all those things. But I'm more ready than I thought I was to take the torch. And so I don't think we can prepare for the emotion that goes with it, but we can prepare for the practicality that goes with it.
Yeah.
And how to make sure you make those right decisions and not be afraid to make a wrong decision and fix it, because you can't always make the right decisions. Don't hold
Yeah,
yourself to
no,
that kind
I'm
of
not
pressure.
saying.
But those are things that I'm learning right now through this loss. Anybody else? What about fears or thoughts on loss? Or yeah, Will. Yeah.
When I think of loss, I think of both sides of my family, because when I was 1 and a newborn, my dad's side, his dad passed away,
Mm-hmm.
which I did met him, but at that age I could not remember at all about him. But since after my other grandfather passed away on my mom's side, he passed away 2010 in a terrible car wreck.
It's awful.
Yeah, and
Remember that.
and when I think of loss, it really just impacts me a lot, because I learned more about my mom's side after my grandfather died, and some of his really good friends also and also two of my really close friends passed away. The most recent one is actually last Thanksgiving. And basically every year on my dad's side, it's either that we as a family could go to Georgia and see them, or they'll come to us. And during all of that commotion, a really important friend passed away,
Mm-hmm.
and it was I forget right. It was my mom. It was my dad's mom's best friend.
Mm. So
And
what
it
does all
was-
that loss do to you, Will? How can you be comforted during loss? Let's talk about that for a second.
It really gets me scared.
Scared
About,
loss does?
it does, because I don't know what's going to happen next.
So your granddad was a great man. I knew your grandfather, and
Yeah.
a great guy. And there was a tragic accident that happened on 65 that day. How have you dealt with that loss of Vic? How have you dealt with that?
It really did impact me the most, the most because he taught me two of the most important things in life is how to walk and how to do equal symbol with your hands. Basically
He
this.
taught you that?
Yeah, he taught me this and that.
Did he really?
He did.
Was that a V for Vic?
Yeah, for Vic. His real name was Vic, but when I was starting to talk, I could only pronounce Vic.
So you called him Vic.
Call him Vic.
Just like the pins.
Just like the pins.
Like that, yeah.
So we've all had loss. I mean, has everybody lost somebody that you go, God, I wish they were still here?
Me all the time.
Yeah, all the time. What do you mean? You got golly.
So, not only did my grandmother pass away on our generation's day that shall live in infamy, 9/11.
Really? Died
Really.
on 9/11.
Really.
Not in the event, right? But
Not
just,
in the event, but
wow.
years later. So,
on 9/11 years later. I got you.
Yes.
Okay.
And then recently my family had a couple friends pass away.
Okay.
One was expected, but as someone was saying, and it may have been you, Tom, that or actually probably was Matt, you never know when your time is.
Yeah.
It's
So-
a scary thought to think about.
Oh.
Uh,
So what does that
This
teach us about this side of life? Let's talk about that for a minute. What is if we know there's this loss, and instead of just sitting here and I look at all these sad faces and we're depressed,
We move past it. We keep moving forward. That's the only thing I can tell you.
it's really weird. I agree with you, Matt.
and
As-
live like the person that just died wants us to live.
Oh, that's a great way to put that.
Yeah,
dude. I love
exactly,
that, and
Rob.
that's exactly how I'm trying to
Exactly.
deal with my father. That's a great insight, both of you. I've really sort of started to manifest what would my dad want me to do. His body got all broken, and he was old. I mean, it was old, and had cancer, and had all this stuff with his body. But his mind and his spirit would want us to continue on with what we're doing, and I know that. That's really the cool
He
part.
was an architect.
He was an architect, and so yeah. And what's funny is, as important as he was during those few days, the world still keeps coming, and it just keeps coming. And pretty soon the world could wash him, pretend like
hit the ground
he
running.
never happened. Exactly. Very nice. Exactly.
Nice reference there, Cody.
It's
That's
up-
why
it's
he's
up
Smash
to-
Mouth.
It's up to me to keep my dad's legacy alive, right? It's up to you to keep
Hey,
your family's legacies
What's
alive.
that thing?
What's
that-
what thing?
The thing that looks like an Emmy.
That's a Clio.
Hmm.
That's an award we got for doing the frog commercials. But anyway, it's I think it's important to keep our legacies alive of people that have come before us, and but it's unbelievable how quickly the world can just wash over it, and that person was here, but it's fading into the distance.
But, you know, like, I've had people that I've known that have passed away, but it really won't affect me as much when somebody very close that I had a relationship with.
Yeah.
Like, it you know, I haven't had that kind of loss yet, and I think it's, you know, it's really difficult for me to
Picture that.
well, it's not the picture. It's more of like empathize or like with. I've been to several. I know I've been to a couple funerals, and
Yeah.
I can't. My memory's spotty right
Yeah.
now, and it's hard for me to, until you know that person, until you know what they're going through. You can't just say, "Oh, it will be okay," because
Well, there was this beautiful thing that happened to me when I got to watch my dad die. I actually watched him take his last breath, and all of a sudden he wasn't there. All of a sudden he just wasn't there, and so my faith tells me that he left a carcass, he left a body here, and his spirit and soul live on, and I have to believe that. I want to believe that. I truly believe that, and I live my life like that. And so, in a weird, sad moment, there was something beautiful. There was this broken body left there, and I knew my father wasn't there. Some people can't go bury their family because they're afraid of it. It's a body. It was inanimate at that point. The animated part of it was my father, and he was gone. He had gone to another place that my Lord and Savior tells me is in another spot, and that's my faith. That helps us on this side of things because we don't know. He now knows. Well, we all kind of go, I wonder what it's like when that happens. He knows. And then those that have gone before us that each of us shared with know. They know a special secret. So the hope and faith I have in my God and my Savior on this side of life and death helps me get through to that. And to be honest, there was this peace about everything that happened because his broken, cancer-ridden, broken hip, knee hurt, couldn't see body was just that. He was gone, and he was better. And so that was a really cool moment for me. That was a special time to be able to do that.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is going to get it deeper.
No, go deeper. Man.
I really want to know what that felt like, if you can describe it.
Sure.
I mean,
yeah.
I believe in Jesus, and I just,
Yeah.
I have this bad habit of worrying too much. Just thinking about it really makes me want to
Really,
cry
for a
right now.
moment.
Can you leave? Is this too deep for you?
But
Or do you have something you need to
like,
get
I hate to get all philosophical.
too deep
but
for you, or is it okay? Do you have something you need to do?
Yeah, I think sort of A.
Yeah. Can I answer the question? Then let's pull it back around. I don't want it. I want it to be okay to talk about, guys. I want you to understand it's okay to talk about this. The question is, I felt alive. I felt important. I felt empowered. I felt like I was witnessing something really special, and that I was able to be there with him. I got to help him. He was in pain, and I got to help him and release him and kind of let him go and know that we had the torch, know that we had everything taken care of. So I spent the night with him. That's why I wasn't here for a lot of time, for 2 weeks. I spent around the clock with him. It was important because I'm going to miss him. It is, and I was scared to lose him, but I'm ready. And one of the things one of the reasons I'm ready is that I have groups like this that count on me and that I count on in order to continue. And I think that's really important, is to not go through this alone and realize you're not the only one that's going to lose a
It's
parent.
really comforting.
And you're not the only one that's going to be in a position like that. We all are. And so that really helps. So I think where we as people sometimes want to isolate ourselves at those moments, I found it very, very comforting to go back into community and have people pray for me, with me, and around me, and be a part of that. So that was good.
Okay. That's really insightful, really helpful.
Absolutely, man. So Cody, if it got too deep, tell me what's uncomfortable about talking about this. What's uncomfortable about talking about this?
Never mind.
No. Share, if you want.
That's what this is for anyway.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
You got your peeps.
We're all
around you.
here for you. So.
Yeah, we got your peeps around you. Are you scared of that stuff too? What Matt was talking about, maybe? Of course, it's Star Wars too. Very nice. I like that.
Oh,
Tell the crew to turn
that
the
sounded
phones
like
off.
it sounded like the Heimwell scream.
Cody, did you do that remotely? That's how you did
You know
that.
what the
didn't you?
Oh, it's
Heimwell
only got a
scream is?
TV on
The
loud.
Heimwell-
Cody lightened the whole thing by
Heimlich
remote
scream.
controlling in the Star
I guess
Wars
I kind of
soundtrack.
brightened the mood up in here.
That's very
It
nice.
sounded like the Heimlich scream.
It did. Dieter, thank you. That was good. Tell that crew, thank you for that. That was great.
You know,
Scared us all.
like it's like every TIE fighter being blown up.
That was awesome. Now that it's lightened up, we broke the ice for you. Do you want to share anything about it, or do you want to?
I forgot what I was saying.
Well, you were. It was uncomfortable to talk about a little bit to you. What made it uncomfortable?
It was about faith crisis or something.
A little just trying to figure it all out. Yeah, a little bit.
Sort of.
Because it's hard because we don't see it and touch it. It's tough. Faith is something that we have to believe that's there that we can't see and touch and feel. I think you can't feel it. I think you feel it in groups like this. So I think that's important.
That's the reason I said we're all here for you.
Yeah, exactly. We got each other's backs. That's why we exist.
Yeah.
That's why we exist. I'm reading a book called The Second Mountain, and it's all about giving back later in life. And I don't know why I have to wait till later in life. We should all be giving back to each other.
We should
anyway.
always be giving.
Yeah, and then that's going to help us feel better about ourselves if it's focused on you. So, Raleigh, that's a great point.
If that's making a video for an organization
Doesn't matter.
that helps other people, or if that's
We're just sitting in a circle
like
talking about friends.
I use the example of like I kind of use my word. You know, somewhere in the Bible it talks about that work is a form of worship.
Yeah, it sure can be. Absolutely. And
And-
how you work is important.
And I think, I think, you know, I feel like, you know, every day I walk in here, I try to contribute to something,
Yeah.
and I want it to be, you know, for God,
Well,
and that's that, you know.
Cool. I think it's important that over since January, we've all kind of gotten to know each other in this little forum. It's been really cool. I feel like there's nothing we can't talk about in here, Dustin.
And some of us have gotten to know personalities over the videos.
By watching them,
By watching the videos,
That's cool.
I've gotten to know Cody and Dustin's personalities.
Oh, that's awesome. So
Of course, I've already known these
those
three
clowns, you know those
personalities
three guys right there.
for a while.
Well, that's a cool way to look at that, Raleigh. That's awesome.
That's honestly how I prep
To come be here.
to come here for episode 10 was
That's
to
awesome.
go back and watch the go back and watch parts of the episodes that were already up.
That's awesome, dude.
And maybe if you get a job in Nashville, he can be one of us.
And if you keep the sunglasses on, you could be his agent.
You owe me $500 a month.
You have a Secret Service.
That's exactly right. We're getting an
Secret
earpiece and you're
Service.
ready to go, dude.
Yeah.
Brad, you've been awful quiet, man. I like it that at the very end you're always going to craft a little bit of word of wisdom. What talk about lost in your window, man. What do you think about what we're talking about?
I don't hardly know what else I could process. You know, maybe sometimes it can be an awful thing, and well, drink, and maybe even a good thing. Like maybe I've heard some of those who were actually ready to pass on. Like, well, I told you about my grandfather back about a few podcasts ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Share that again in this context.
Yeah. Well, the last time I saw him, was at the hospital. He was, of course, at that time he was like he didn't really like speak up much.
Mm.
We hardly even said our goodbyes.
Mm.
Yeah. So when we saw him, we finally left him to rest in peace.
How did you leave in peace, or did you leave in sadness and turmoil, or were you able to make your peace with that as well?
Peace and sadness, both.
Yeah, and I think that's an okay emotion. Somebody told me we're supposed to feel pain in this life. We're not supposed to mask it always. We're supposed to feel it. It's part of our fabric.
Yeah.
It's part of the joy is feeling some pain. You're gonna say something. Were you gonna say something?
Yeah, I forgot what I was going to say.
Riley?
So, it's interesting that Brad brought that up because I was back in North Carolina when my grandmother passed away.
Mm-hmm.
So I've never really got to say goodbye.
Mm.
That's what
Is that hard?
that
Is
was
hard?
the hardest thing for me to do.
Yeah. To miss being able to say
To
goodbye.
miss being able to say goodbye.
Yeah, and that's one thing I loved about the situation with my dad is tiring as it was, as sad as it was to watch it. I feel very completed now by being a part of that process with him. It was we actually watched the Vanderbilt baseball team win the national championship game together at Centennial. My brothers and I were both there, and
Thanks, Ella.
we watched that game.
I did.
Scott catches the ball, they do a dog pile, and we looked over and my dad took his last breath. And that was basically how my dad went.
Was he watching the game, or was he just
He was
there?
he was cognitive in the room with the game on. He had lost his sight through a series of a couple of strokes, but he knew the game was on. So I'm not going to say that it was like the natural and the lights went out and They won their national championship, but it was kind of like that night. It was really kind of bizarre. And so there was this beautiful moment I have with my dad with that last piece. So I know what you mean by not, I wasn't there when my mom passed, so I was there when my dad passed. So I know that moment of not getting to say goodbye. It's sad.
Yeah,
It's a tough moment.
I was gonna add, the fact is, the one thing I know for darn sure is I know I'm gonna see you're gonna see anybody, you're gonna see them again.
Yeah, I believe that.
I
Big time.
truly believe that.
So my dad lost a son when I was 4. He was 2, died in his arms. He lost his father when he was 7. So the way I look at it, his pop got to hang out with his son that he hadn't seen in 56 years, and he got to hang out with his dad who he hadn't seen in 70 years, 80 years. So anyway, yeah, there was always that hope with that. What about it, guys? Anything else you want to throw in there? Will?
About saying like goodbye and hi to people that you won't know that they're about to pass on. For my grandfather on my mom's side passed away. He said his last words was I'll go get the I will go get the boat ready.
I'll go get the boat ready. And that's the last thing you heard him say.
That's the other thing I heard him says. I don't remember if I said bye or not, but till last time I seen him, and at that moment when he was leaving, I was at my cousin's house playing. I was like either 10 or 9.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I was 9 at that point. So, either my grandmother or mom came to pick me up, and she was really, really sad.
Mm.
Really sad. So at that age, I was like, "She's stopping again." I was like that,
Yeah.
and once when I got the news, I was heartbroken.
You started to understand it.
I did,
Yep.
and for my other grandfather, I essentially did met him, but with me not starting to talk yet, I never said hi or bye.
Mm. So maybe that's a lesson to tell everybody: go home, leave this place, and go tell everybody you love them, that you love them. It's not a bad lesson to do. Absolutely. Dita, you got anything you want to throw in on this pretty deep subject we have here today?
Yeah, I think it's life. We all have to live it, and we know time fixes stuff. Like the biggest loss of my life so far was my first dog. When she died, man,
Yeah.
I was dead. But over time now, I just have a good memory of her, and
Right.
life is okay. And it's we have fear of the unknown. We have fear of how to swim. Well, we jump into the water, and after a while, we're not scared of swimming. We're afraid of a certain food. We try it, we start liking it. The older we get, we're closer to people who die than you guys are. Because you guys are younger, and so we start understanding. We start learning about what the death process. So we start knowing it. We start and then we start feeling good about it because we're not as fearful because we kind of get a better understanding of what it is. For younger guys, it's just an unknown. You don't think about it, so it's really traumatic feeling. But if we all have belief too, then we know there's something better. So it should actually be a time of celebration because those people get to move on to the next big thing.
I think it's a reminder 24/7 just to live. The song has become trite now, but it's the message is live like you were dying. We're all dying. Go live.
And have friends.
And have friends, man. This makes it better. When I go without this group for a couple of weeks like we have, I miss that. And I have a Wednesday morning group, a Thursday morning group, and I encourage you all to get together whenever you can and hold on to each other because you said it earlier, Ryan. I think it's important that Cody knows how important he is to you. and how you're there for him, and that we put ourselves in positions to be there for each other.
How important
Dieter and I,
I
but
am for who?
for all of us, and you're important to Riley. He told you that earlier, and so if you needed something, Riley would be there for you. Dieter and I have become very good friends, and we were in Chicago and ran into each other and ate lunch. It creates.
I knew that was going to
It
happen.
creates a circle though of that.
Because I knew you were there already and he was on.
But that's a friendship that had we not cultivated that, we would have
Did
eaten
y'all-
lunch that day by ourselves.
Y'all met in Chicago?
Yeah, he was up there shooting something, and I was up there working, and we ended up. I texted him and said, "Where are you?" And he said, "I'm at the corner of here and here." And I said, "That's 4 blocks away. And let's have lunch." And so we had lunch. But it was because
I
we had,
love spontaneity.
absolutely. And but you create that spontaneity by doing what you guys are doing, putting yourself out there and being a part of the community.
And reach out to one another. you know,
Always.
do stuff.
I mean, if it wasn't for spontaneity, Carson wouldn't be leaving the podcast and coming to Raleigh.
There you go. Oh, you're going with him?
Uh-huh.
Awesome. That's awesome. Great trip. All right, somebody was going to close this thing out. Thanks for your words,
He
Peter.
was.
That's
Riley
awesome.
I am.
Do it.
Riley, have you gotten permission now from
Yes.
Cody to close this
I
thing?
I have permission
All right,
from
look
Cody
right-
to say
Look right away.
big ass taco. Yeah, buddy.
Good stuff.